Welcome to the London Outlook for Monday, the 12th of February 2024. Starting off with the economic calendar, what we can see is that there is one red folder news event. However, it's 2 hours after the end of our trading session for the day, so there isn't really any bearing of economic news events on our trading decisions for today. Then moving on to the charts, in terms of the 4 hour, we're still in this confirmed bearish trend, where the pullback phase validated last week as a result of body breaking this pro trend confirmed 4HOB, which is essentially this leg highlighted right here. And then from a short perspective, we also had a change of character right here, which then validated the pro trend primary leg, which you can see right there. As a result of that, there's reason to trade both directions because we're reacting to the pullback phase OB right here and then the pro trend primary OB right there. So then moving on to the 5-minute, what we can see is that from last week we essentially reacted to this pullback phase primary leg window of imbalance, which then created the secondary leg and extended all the way through Friday and into this morning in the Asia session. However, since then we are still within this pro trend primary leg, and as a result of wicking higher than the previous 4HOB interactions, we have now validated the secondary leg, which essentially means that coming into the London session, we're primarily looking for shorts. However, obviously we need the Asia high of the day to be validated by Frankfurt at some point in the day, and that will happen when Frankfurt takes out the Asia low of the day, in which case we'll anchor our foot to the extreme and the Asia high of the day and find an appropriate BOI at or above the 38% level. From what it seems right now, there appears to be somewhat of a chain that has developed in and around this area, so there's potential for an entry right here covering that high of the day. And then in terms of targeting, we'll just play it by ADR, although there is a good chance that this will be the start of the week's high, so the weekly high may be formed on a Monday, in which case if we do enter right here and this is the weekly high, then we probably want to hold that trade all the way until we take out the ERL, but potentially partialing at a 1 to 5 or towards the end of the day at a minimum of 1 to 3, and then ultimately targeting the swing low by leaving the trade open throughout the week. Having said that, that's the idea for shorts. There's also the idea for longs. The idea for longs will require that we extend the secondary pullback phase, because there are two secondary OBs at play, and the latest secondary leg being this one, it overrides this, and thus we only focus on shorts for the London session. But in terms of longs, what can happen is we actually body break this high, in which case this secondary leg will be extended and this one will be invalidated. However, once we do break the high, then we've got to be careful to ensure that we enter without a new pro trend primary secondary leg being validated, because if that is validated, then obviously any long based entries are also invalid, because the latest leg will suggest shorting only. Having said all of that, ideally in a long scenario you want the secondary leg to be extended, but in a more ideal scenario, you want this 4H pro trend primary BOI to be body broken, in which case there's no support for creating any 4H OBs until we reach this level, where we can then validate a pro trend primary leg as such. As a result of an interaction to this window of imbalance, which would essentially mean that we can trade counter trend longs and only longs until we reach this area, which will simplify our decision process, as there wouldn't be reasons for both direction trading. Having said all of that, I think what's clear right now as we come into the London session is that shorts make sense, and if we are going to take any long entries, we have to bear in mind that the secondary leg must not come into effect prior to our entry, and in an ideal scenario by 12 o'clock, if we are going to go long, we'll have that body break and invalidate this pro trend primary OB and the leg as a result, in which case longs will be far easier to take. and potentially the New York session will cater for that. Other than that, that's pretty much the London outlook. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll chat again for the New York outlook.